Jaylen Brown, and he talked about his brother Jason Tatum, and to me, and we'll dig into more the details of it, the particulars of it, but to me, broadly speaking, from 10,000 feet, my main takeaway is the thing he was talking about, which is the coming of age, the coming together of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they both had a big night on the same night, and I think that's sort of symbolic of it coming together between those two, among those two, etc. That thing in that bucket is, I think, the key to where the Celtics are, the key to that win last night, and the key to their championship. And so that's just a broad lead-off take from the Celtics being on the verge of clinching another championship. 617-779-0985. What's your thought, Mazz?
So just to build off of that, one started, one finished. That's basically, to me, how the game went last night. One of them started, carried him in the early part of the game. The other one closed it out when they needed to close it out. Dondero and I were just talking about this a second ago. What's wrong with that? To borrow an old friend's phrase. Seriously, however it works, I really don't care. At the end of the day, it's the end result that matters. Okay, so if you can win that way, and if they are comfortable winning that way, then what difference does it make? Just win it. Now, I also think there was an interesting paradox or, role reversal in some ways in that game last night. Doesn't the guy on the other team look kind of like your guy looked 2 years ago?
Yes.
Doesn't he kind of look that way?
Yes.
Luka, except he's fatter? So, to me, it's Dallas is in the place now where the Celtics were 2 years ago, or Luka Dončić is. He's not thinking straight. So, and I know that is sort of a whole separate story, and, I know we'll get to it. But Brown, Tatum, I thought last night was pretty much a joint effort. One had the early part of the game, one had the late part of the game. They didn't have Porzingis. They scored 61 points combined. Now they're one win from their first championship, and they're both in the same spot.
And I think it's, all the particulars of it. I think one has made a step forward. One maybe a little half step back. In Jason Tatum is who I'm referring to, but it makes him a better team at the end of the day. Tatum's okay with it and playing within it, which is much to his credit. And Brown isn't being, it's like that whole thing. That's a delicate thing in that league, having two guys at that level and trying to navigate that short term and long. And so short term, them reaching that place to me is the story of the team. And again, the story last night, and I think it was sort of a microcosm. When you needed it, it was really kind of more Jaylen Brown than Jason Tatum, which again is okay. I mean, it should be okay, as long as they're okay with it, and it feels like they are. And so, to me, that's just sort of where I start. Where do you start, Mark?
So just to go in a different direction, I think the biggest thing that I took away from this series to this point, defense. Okay, I've loved the way they have played defense. They've played violent defense, and I think that's benefited them in all kinds of ways. Obviously, it's helping them get stops. I think it's tiring out Luka and Kyrie. When Kyrie, earlier in the series, the first couple of games, he looked like he was working so hard for everything he got. I think that hurt both of them on the defensive end, and I just love the mentality and how they kind of asserted themselves on that side or that end of the floor, which has led to some of the offense and led to some of the buckets in transition. To me, that's the story of the series. I know we could talk about the players, the stars, the offense, the efficiency. That has been the foundation of their success in this series to me, and I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, so we'll take your game thoughts. We'll be mostly game thoughts, series thoughts. We will touch a little bit on the Brady night last night, but it's all open again for you. More specifically, that game last night, Mazz. What did you think about last night? You start with Dončić, don't you?
Oh, I completely start with Dončić. Again, that is the finish of that game is exactly what Dallas wanted. And I go back to even the prior game. Dallas's whole MO to win this series had to be keep it close, get it late, let our guys execute and your guys won't. Because we have the more clutch player, we have the guy with the bigger balls, we have the guy with the basketball sense, and we're going to pull this thing out at the end of the game. And I add Kyrie onto that too, because Kyrie is a great one-on-one ISO player. Kyrie can score. Dončić imploded at the end of that game. I can't tell you how many people said all the stuff that's being said today, reached out to me last night as it was happening in real time. How does the best player on the team get his 6th foul on a block charge play? How does that happen? That is at best a 50-50 proposition. So your whole team is riding on your shoulders, and you're going to decide to try to take a charge in the 4th quarter with 4 minutes to go in the game and the season in the balance? That's when you decide to do it?
Dope.
What an idiot. Like, if he were here today, if we were in Dallas, take your pick. If that was our guy, we would be crucifying him. And we would be killing him for doing that.
And rightfully so.
What a mistake.
Is it a mistake or is it like a character flaw?
It could be the second thing. And I do wonder, like, I've had people tell me Dončić kind of thumbed his nose growing up at the whole AAU culture. Didn't buy into it. Didn't get caught up in it.
Well, was he here or is he in Latvia?
No. He was in Latvia. But I mean, I really should have said the entitlement culture. Like, he really kind of thumbed his nose at it. He had sort of a grittiness about him that, and there is a toughness to his game that is evident. But he's got this entitlement in terms of how great he is and how the thing should be entirely about him. And the bitching at the officials is exactly what Jason Tatum was doing 2 years ago. It's gotten better with Tatum. It's still there.
Don't you think this guy's worse?
Way worse.
Worse than Tatum was.
Way worse. Way worse. He bitches about everything. And I'm sorry, to still at the top of the list for me, and I have felt this way since he came into the league, he's out of shape. And I'm going to try to not make it about being fat because I think it's a serious problem. No, he's out of shape. It's a problem. He has 8 points in the 4th quarters of 3 games in the finals. 8 points. He is one of the most inefficient shooters among guys who have played half of the 4th quarter thus far in the postseason.
Are people trying to shame you because you're calling an athlete fat?
I wouldn't say people, but I sense it.
Oh, God. F off. He's an athlete. It's part of the job, being in
Holy
shape.
crap.
If you're out of shape as an athlete, you're allowed to call a guy out of shape and fat as an athlete.
Wow, and it's affecting them. They're making them work at both ends of the floor, and good for them. The Celtics strategy has been great. We're going to attack him, and we get into the 4th quarter, and he's going to have the ball in his hands the whole time. He's going to be tired because he's fat and out of shape.
I think some of his stuff is self-destructive. In other words, there's times where we used to get on Tatum he's back up the floor complaining to the refs as the action's going down on the other end. And that definitely happened with Tatum and happens from time to time with him. Dončić, it's like a whole nother level. He goes spilling into the first row and sort of like just, as a big glump just sort of lays there, making this scene as the action's going down on the other end. Never mind some of these fouls. Like, the reason he fouled out was not those 2 late ones. I mean, those were stupid. But earlier in the second half, he had a foul. I think it was on Derek White. I can't remember who had the offensive rebound.
Derek White, 3rd quarter, yep.
Yeah, so there was 80 feet from the basket or however far that is from his own. Like, he missed a shot or someone missed a shot. He got frustrated, and so he tried to bat the ball away from Derek White at the other end. Foul. And then there was another one where he tried to pick Peyton Pritchard's pocket in the middle, mid-court. Like, not a scoring threat, just sort of a lazy, dick around kind of foul. That's how he got in foul trouble.
Lazy is the right word.
Which is that kind of stuff. It's combination of lazy or petulant or whatever, that thing.
Petulant's another good word.
So that's what he is.
And it's selfish.
Oh, my God. You got to be kidding me.
The whole franchise is riding on his shoulders.
What? That is just losing play. I know I call the guy a loser, but if that's what he is, then he's a loser. Like, he's at the age where, I said this about Tatum, because a lot of people, would call up and say he's a loser, you'll never win with him. I said, I'm not going there yet. I'm not there yet. If they don't win this year, okay, I'll join you, but we're right on the line here with Tatum. He didn't do it this year. Those things are kind of fair. He's doing it this year. So, Dončić is he's getting there. He's a year younger than Tatum.
I think he is, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's got one more shot for me. And if he doesn't push through the next time, it's like, nope, that's James Harden. That's a loser. So he's coming up on that territory where Tatum is.
Definitely.
But again, I think he's worse now than Tatum was.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, again, Tatum, look, his personality is passive. Okay, that's who he is. But he cares. Like, I think Tatum cares. And I think he takes his responsibility to his team and his teammates seriously. And so I think he's responded to the criticisms and wanted to grow. I think that's evident. Like that, Luka Dončić, like, look at him. Just look at him. Seriously, look at him.
Okay, so
the guy's a professional athlete in the NBA. These guys, look at Tatum and Brown and put them next to him. Just look at the difference. It's so striking. It's ridiculous.
So, fun to pile on Dončić. He deserves it now. You're about to win a championship, so I know it's more your primary concern. We can go wherever you want with that. What happened last night, how you got there, your thoughts now that you're here, because you're here. Broadly speaking, I wish I could have used a little more inventory. All 4 and 5 game series, like I could have used a little more inventory.
We
as a talk show host. Sorry, we. It's that kind of stinks. As a Celtic, like I said, as a Celtics fan, it's great. If I were a Celtic fan, it's great. I'm jealous. You haven't had a bad night's sleep in over a month in the middle of the playoffs. Like, it never threatened. And that's awesome for you. But there's still plenty to pick at. And last night got interesting.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.